far as I know.
Did they tell you something?
Yes, they'll say when they're going to be here.
And so what was
He's very calm.
what was the deal with the elementary school? So
that was all misreported, and I don't know why people do that, but I just... we thought about it, but like we never made a decision. Like we were contemplating all various... it was like the weekend, like we had to go look at places. So when I tell them, I'm all about this, why? But it's not even more, it's like fighting with people, because it just makes it more complicated. But yeah.
So why the community college?
Well, we wanted to do it in New York City, obviously, right? So like I thought this was a much easier like space to be like it's bigger and it's not.
So Union City was important because.
Yeah, right. Like, where his origin story is.
Okay, that was what I was talking. So he grew up here.
Yes. Oh yeah. He knew that. Like he was mayor in Union City. Okay. So,
I used to cover Long Island.
Yeah, I know he grew up in Union City. He first started in politics, like he was at 20 years old after that. He died, and then he came to be mayor.
So it came up through here.
Yes, exactly. Alrighty. Thank you. So we're going to get started in like 12 minutes, like we said. If you know, like if you have any colleagues or people who are still with your team that are still looking for parking or making their way into the building, if you could kindly let them know to just like try and come in now so they're in here because they're going to close and they're going to force everybody in this space, okay? You're welcome.
That's a good visual. Yeah, it's white.
We should probably, when he gets here, you should probably in the hallway.
From the one we got into, from the main hallway.
Oh, on the other side.
Okay. Check, check, sound check. Check, check, sound check. Check, check, sound check.
I don't think that's gonna matter today. Everything good? We're gonna get started soon. Hey, Al.
Like how long? Like 5 minutes?
Yeah, yep. All right. Ah, good. What's with the chair? Who's that for? She can sit there. She can sit there. We're not putting a chair up in the front. No, 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 no. No, I know, we're not putting a chair up in the front. No, no, just have it. Just on either side of the flags. It doesn't matter. No one line. Hold on. Okay. All right, we're going to start in just a few more minutes, guys, so I just, appreciate the patience. Okay, everyone, we're going to begin in about a minute. As I said before, the senator will deliver remarks. He will not be taking questions, and we appreciate all of your patience and thank you kindly. Okay? He will not be taking questions. Okay? We know there's a number of reporters here as well from the Spanish press, so we anticipate he will say a few words in Spanish as well. Okay? Always can count on you, Dave. No, I don't think so. No questions in English or Spanish. It'll be, you'll know.
Good morning. Thank you to all of you who are here today, especially the New Jerseyans who have joined me as I address the events of the last few days. On Friday, the Southern District of New York brought charges against me. I understand how deeply concerning this can be. However, the allegations leveled against me are just that, allegations. For anyone who has known me throughout my 50 years of public service, they know I have always fought for what is right. My advocacy has always been grounded in what I learned from growing up as a son of Cuban refugees, especially my mom, my hero, Evangelina Menendez. Everything I've accomplished, I've worked for, despite the naysayers and everyone who has underestimated me. I recognize this will be the biggest fight yet, but as I have stated throughout this whole process, I firmly believe that when all the facts are presented, not only will I be exonerated, but I still will be the New Jersey's senior senator. For now, I want to address four things. First, a cornerstone of the foundation of American democracy and our justice system is the principle that all people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. All people. I ask for nothing more and deserve nothing less. The court of public opinion is no substitute for our revered justice system. We cannot set aside the presumption of innocence for political expediency when the harm is irrevocable. To those who have rushed to judgment, you have done so based on a limited set of facts framed by the prosecution to be as salacious as possible. Remember, prosecutors get it wrong sometimes. Sadly, I know that. Instead of waiting for all the facts to be presented, others have rushed to judgment because they see a political opportunity for themselves or those around them. All I humbly ask for in this moment, in my colleagues in Congress, the elected leaders and the advocates of New Jersey that I have worked with for years, as well as each person who calls New Jersey home, is to pause and allow for all the facts to be presented. Second, my long record on Egypt. One fact is indisputable. Throughout my time in Congress, I have remained steadfast on the side of civil society and human rights defenders in Egypt and everywhere else in the world. If you look at my actions related to Egypt during the period described in this indictment and throughout my whole career, my record is clear and consistent in holding Egypt accountable for its unjust detention of American citizens and others, its human rights abuses, its deepening relationship with Russia, and efforts that have eroded the independence of the nation's judiciary, among a myriad of concerns. In 2017, I led a bipartisan letter to then-President Trump expressing grave concern with the worsening situation for human rights and civil society in Egypt. That same year, I sent a letter to the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee supporting U.S. assistance to Egypt as long as Egypt adhered to the Camp David Accords and urged the Appropriations Committee to include the requirements for assistance reform strategies outlined in the Egypt Assistance Reform Act of 2013. In 2018, I urged Secretary Tillerson to focus more on human rights issues in Egypt and raised concerns that the electoral environment ahead of Egypt's elections at the time was not free, fair, and credible. In 2019, I met with President el-Sisi at the Munich Security Conference and emphasized the level of repression inside of Egypt, risking eroding our security cooperation and raising concerns about Egypt's intent to purchase a Russian missile system. In 2020, I spoke on the Senate floor for International Women's Day and cited the cases of Marinar El-Masri, a human rights lawyer, and Ezra Abdel Fattah, a human rights activist and reporter who were unjustly detained in Egypt for fighting for human rights, democracy, and a free press. I have placed holds on foreign military sales funding to Egypt, and in the presence of other United States senators, I have challenged President Sisi directly on human rights abuses, arbitrary detention, and press freedoms. And the list goes on. Throughout my 30 years in the House of Representatives and the Senate, I have always worked to hold accountable those countries, including Egypt, for human rights abuses, the repression of its citizenry, civil society, and more. Those who now are attempting to malign my actions as it relates to Egypt simply don't know the facts. Third, for 30 years, I have withdrawn thousands of dollars in cash from my personal savings account, which I have kept for emergencies and because of the history of my family facing confiscation in Cuba. Now, this may seem old-fashioned, but these were monies drawn from my personal savings account based on the income that I have lawfully derived over those 30 years. I look forward to addressing other issues at trial. 4, I want to speak directly to the people of New Jersey. As I started these remarks, you're the reason why I have dedicated the entirety of my adult life to improving the lives of hardworking New Jerseyans and all Americans. Some of the people calling for my resignation for political reasons say I have lost the trust of the people of New Jersey. That couldn't be more wrong. Today I'm surrounded by everyday people and constituents who know me. They are here because I fought for important health care policies like the Affordable Care Act, access to reproductive health care, funding for community health centers, and lowering the cost of prescription drugs. They are here because I have fought for working people, those who work 5 to 9, to support those working from 9 to 5. I've always advocated for the right of workers to organize for better wages and working conditions, and have been a staunch supporter of delivering critical services like affordable child care to better support working families. They are here because when New Jersey was in the darkest days following Superstorm Sandy, I never relented in making sure that New Jerseyans were made whole and had the resources to rebuild stronger and more resilient than before. They are here because during the worst pandemic in a century, I went to bat for small business owners throughout the state to ensure they could keep their doors open and their employees on the payroll. They are here because when state and local governments were faced with excruciating decision of having to lay off front officers and firefighters during the pandemic, I delivered billions in federal funding and investments to keep our state, cities, and towns and hospitals afloat. They are here because throughout my career, and some may not have liked the positions I've taken, I have stood against authoritarian regimes in Iran and its desire to achieve nuclear weapons, or Cuba and its dictatorship, or authoritarianism in Turkey, Venezuela, Russia, and wherever in the world where human rights and democracy have been threatened. And they are here because I have made it my life's work about protecting refugees and immigrants who come to our shores seeking a better future for their children, just as my family did. They are here because during the past 30 years, I have fought tooth and nail so New Jersey would receive critical infrastructure funding and fought against the forces that tried to dismantle the Gateway Project. They are here because since my earliest days in Congress, I have repeatedly stood up to the gun lobby to stop illegal firearms from claiming too many lives and destroying communities. They are here because when tragedy struck one of New Jersey's federal judges, I made a promise that I would not stop until I passed a law to better protect the dedicated public servants in the judiciary. And last year, I delivered passing legislation signed into law by the President that will better protect judges and their families. And they are here because I never gave up on delivering justice for 9/11 families, especially the widows and children of those killed who were previously and unfairly excluded from the U.S. victims of state-sponsored terrorism. And in December, working with others, I delivered billions of dollars in long overdue federal relief to that community and other U.S. victims of terror. They are here because when other members of Congress wanted to turn their backs on our veterans and not pass the PACT Act to provide health care for our veterans who were exposed to toxic burn pits, I was there. And they are here because I successfully passed legislation to better serve World War II vets as well as those suffering from Gulf War illnesses. For now, I remain focused on continuing to do the important work I do every day on behalf of the 9 million people who call New Jersey home, including doing everything we can this week to avoid a government shutdown, deliver critical funding for states affected by catastrophic natural disasters, and ensure the people of Ukraine have everything they need to defeat Putin. And I'll return to Washington this week to do exactly that. Now, let me just say a few words in Spanish. Buenos días. Gracias a todos los que están aquí, especialmente los residentes de New Jersey que me acompañan hoy mientras realizo comentarios sobre los eventos de los últimos días. El viernes, el Distrito Sur de Nueva York presentó cargos en mi contra. Entiendo que estos cargos son serios, pero las alegaciones presentadas en contra de mí son eso solamente, alegaciones. Cualquier persona que me ha conocido a lo largo de mis 50 años de servicio público sabe que siempre he luchado por lo que es justo. Mi trabajo siempre se ha centrado en lo que aprendí en crecer como hijo de refugiados cubanos, especialmente de mi madre, mi heroína Evangelina. He trabajado para alcanzar todos mis logros, a pesar de los detractores y todos los que me han subestimado. Reconozco la gravedad de este momento y que esta será mi mayor batalla hasta hoy en día. Pero como he dicho a lo largo de todo este proceso, creo firmemente que cuando se presentan todos los hechos, no solo seré exonerado, sino seguiré siendo el senador federal de New Jersey. Por ahora quiero abordar 4 cosas. En primer lugar, una piedra angular de la fundación de la democracia estadounidense y del sistema judicial es el principio de que todas las personas se presumen inocentes hasta que se demuestre su culpabilidad. Todas las personas. No pido nada más ni merezco nada menos. La Corte de la Opinión Pública no es sustituto de nuestro venerado sistema de justicia. Para aquellos que se han apresurado a juzgarme, le han hecho basado en conjunto limitado de hechos enmarcados por la fiscalía para que sean lo más provocativos posible. Recuerden, los fiscales a veces se equivocan. Por desgracia, yo sé eso de primera mano. En lugar de esperar a que se presentan todos los hechos, otros se han apresurado a juzgarme porque ven una oportunidad política para sí mismos y para quienes lo rodean. Todo lo que pido humildemente en este momento a mis colegas en New Jersey, a los líderes electos, a los activistas de nuestro estado, a cada persona que llama a New Jersey su casa, es hacer pausa y permitir que se presentan todos los hechos. Todo lo que pido humildemente es actualmente a mis colegas en el Congreso, a los líderes de nuestro estado, que eso puede pasar. En segundo, quiero hablar de mi larga historia con relación a Egipto. Un hecho es indiscutible. Durante todo el tiempo que llevo en el Congreso, me he mantenido firme al lado de la sociedad civil y los defensores de los derechos humanos en Egipto y cualquier otra parte del mundo. Si se examinan mis acciones relacionadas con Egipto durante el periodo descrito en la imputación, a lo largo de toda mi carrera, mi historial es claro y consistente a la hora de exigir que Egipto rinda cuentas por su injusticia detenido de derechos humanos, su relación cada vez más profunda con Rusia y los esfuerzos que habrían erosionado la independencia del sistema judicial a la nación, entre muchas otras preocupaciones. En el 2017 dirigí una carta bipartidista al presidente Trump en que expresé mi profunda preocupación por el empeoramiento de la situación de los derechos humanos y la sociedad civil en Egipto. Ese mismo año envié una carta del subcomité de asignaciones del Senado apoyando la asistencia estadounidense a Egipto mientras que Egipto compartiera con los acuerdos de Camp David y insistí al comité que incluyera requisitos para las estrategias de reformas de asistencia al acuerdo de reforma de Egipto, de asistencia a Egipto. En el 2018 insistí al secretario de Estado Tillerson a centrarse más en las cuestiones de derechos humanos en Egipto y planteé mi preocupación por el hecho de que el entorno electoral previo a las elecciones de Egipto en ese momento no será libre ni creíble. En el 2019 me reuní, entre otros, con el presidente el-Sisi en la Conferencia de Seguridad de Múnich y le insistí que el nivel de represión dentro de Egipto corría el riesgo de erosionar nuestra cooperación en materia de seguridad y planteé mi preocupación por la intención de Egipto de adquirir un sistema de misiles rusos. En el 2020 hablé en el Pleno del Senado con motivo del Día Internacional de la Mujer y cité casos de varias mujeres que actualmente, abogados de derechos humanos y reporteros que fueron detenidos adentro de Egipto. Paré fondos para financiar ventas militares a Egipcio y confronté delante de otros senadores federales de los Estados Unidos al presidente egipcio sobre las violaciones de derechos humanos. La lista continúa. A lo largo de mis 30 años en la Cámara de Representantes y en el Senado de los Estados Unidos, siempre he trabajado para que los países rinden cuentas, incluyendo Egipcio, por las violaciones de derechos humanos y la represión de sus ciudadanos y de la sociedad civil y mucho más. Quienes ahora intentan difamar mis acciones en relación con Egipto simplemente desconocen lo hecho, y hay mucho más. En tercer lugar, a pesar, durante 30 años, he retirado en efectivo de mis cuentas personales de ahorro miles de dólares por mantenerlos para emergencias y por la historia de confiscación en Cuba. Algunos pudieran decir que esto es anticuado, pero se trata de dinero retirado de mi cuenta personal basado en los ingresos que he obtenido legalmente durante esos 30 años. Espero abordar otras cuestiones en el juicio. 4. Me dirijo finalmente a los residentes del estado de New Jersey. Como he dicho al principio de estas declaraciones, ustedes son la razón por la que he dedicado mi vida adulta a mejorar la vida de los trabajadores de New Jersey y a todas nuestras familias. Algunas de las personas que piden mi renuncia por razones políticas dicen que he perdido la confianza del pueblo de New Jersey. No podrían estar más equivocados. Estoy rodeado hoy de personas que me conocen. Están aquí porque he luchado por las políticas de salud importantes como la ley de asistencia de salud accesible, la atención médica productiva, la financiación de los centros de salud comunitarios, la reducción del costo de medicamentos recetados. Están aquí porque hoy siempre he luchado por los trabajadores, esos que se aparecen de 5 a 9, después de esos que se aparecen de 9 a 5, lo que han hecho los trabajos más difíciles para asegurar sus derechos, para organizarse y conseguir mejores condiciones. Están aquí porque cuando New Jersey se enfrentó con el huracán Sandy, nunca cedí en asegurarme que los habitantes de New Jersey recuperaran y tuvieran los recursos para reconstrucción más fuertes y resilientes que antes. Están aquí porque cuando la pandemia más mala en un siglo se presentó en nuestra nación, defendía a los propietarios y de pequeñas empresas para garantizar que pudieran mantener sus puertas abiertas y sus empleados en la nómina. Están aquí porque cuando los gobiernos estatales y locales y de los condados tenían la decisión de despedir a policías, bomberos y de otros de primera línea, conseguí miles de millones de dólares en fondos para mantener a flote nuestro estado, nuestras ciudades, nuestros pueblos y nuestros hospitales. Están aquí porque conocen mi larga historia de oponerme a regímenes autoritarios. Quizá a algunos no les gustan las posiciones que yo he tomado contra Irán y sus esfuerzos de tener una arma nuclear, contra el régimen en Cuba, en Turquía, en Venezuela, en Rusia y cualquier lugar del mundo donde los derechos humanos y la democracia se hayan visto amenazados. Y porque trabajé toda mi vida, he consistido en proteger a los refugiados y a los inmigrantes que llegan a nuestro país buscando un mejor futuro como mi familia. Están aquí porque durante más de 30 años en el Congreso Luché con uñas y dientes para que New Jersey recibiera fondos para la infraestructura críticas para nuestro futuro. Están aquí porque desde los primeros días en el Congreso he enfrentado repetidamente al lobby de las armas para impedir que las armas de fuego ilegales cubrieran demasiadas vidas y destruían comunidades. Y están aquí porque hoy, cuando una tragedia global a uno de los jueces federales de New Jersey prometió que no meditaría hasta aprobar una ley que protegiera mejor a los dedicados servidores públicos de nuestro Poder Judicial. Y el año pasado cumplí con esa promesa, aprobando una ley promulgada por el presidente que proteja mejor a nuestros jueces y sus familias. Y están aquí porque cuando las familias del 11 de septiembre que perdieron sus queridos seres familiares no le dieron los fondos necesarios que actualmente se merecían, yo luché y conseguí que miles de millones de dólares en ayudas federales legalmente esperadas a esa comunidad fueran actualmente otorgadas. Así que esto es lo que es nuestra historia. Por ahora sigo centrado en continuación haciendo el importante trabajo que hago todos los días en nombre de los 9 millones de personas que consideran New Jersey su hogar, incluyendo hacer todo lo posible esta semana para evitar un cierre de gobierno, entregar fondos críticos para los lugares afectados por desastres naturales y asegurar que el pueblo de Ucrania tenga todo lo que necesita para derrotar a Putin. Nunca he malversado mi promesa y mi obligación al pueblo. Volveré a Washington esta semana para hacer exactamente eso. Thank you very much.